Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your host Brian, and welcome back to another Q&A episode number 3. All right, before we jump into everything else, as well as about day 3 of our trip, just to give you guys some news and everything. First off, as you can tell by the voice, I'm suffering from a cold right now, but the good news is I tested negative for COVID. The bad news is it is a nagging cough and cold that just will not go away at this point. So that's at least what I'm struggling through right now. So other than that, I actually got a couple podcast episodes I'm going to be releasing soon. I actually got one on Friday that I'm going to do. Won't spoil the names just yet, so make sure you stay tuned for those. I actually got an idea for something I want to release on Fridays going forward. It's a nice little show I decided to come up with. Still trying to think of the name and everything else, as well as the format and everything. But I wanted to use it as a way of promoting musicians. So they would come on, maybe do a nice 30-second to 2-minute solo of whatever it is that really comes to mind, so they can showcase their talents and everything too. I actually got the idea, and this kind of ties into my trip I took to Nashville, which I will tell you guys as we keep going along on this journey. But it was actually Johnny Cash, and it seemed the show that he did, when he would invite all these country music stars on. They would showcase their talents. They would come on, sing maybe their top hits and everything else. So I thought something different. Maybe it could be an idea going forward. We'll have to see. It's still a work in progress, but I need to find people to see who I want to come on to, and then try to get it try to get it all worked out first too. So it's a work in progress, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, to kind of give you guys a little bit of update, I'm back to doing collabs. I actually reached out to Stamatis Kikes, SK Drumming, and we're actually getting ready to do an Amonomorph collab. I don't like spoiling anything just yet, so right now, got it in the works. I'm going to hope that he puts it together. Hopefully this time there's no issues, anything like that. I know we tend to have a little issues back then because I guess my bass pedal was always off for some reason or another, but whatever. We're just going to go with it. And also, it looks like my live streams, I think I was able to figure it out. So at some point, maybe this weekend, I'm hoping this weekend, I'm going to try to get back into doing a bass cover and maybe at some point do a drum cover. Got to make it work. So, and I'm actually looking forward to getting back into doing live streams too. So hope it all works out. Also, I have a multi-drummer collaboration going on right now. Right now it's about me and 2 other drummers. I'm actually trying to look for a 4th drummer to join. The song we're actually going to be covering is We Are. And that's from Vertical Horizon's hit album, Everything You Want. If anyone is interested, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, message me and we can work out the details from there. I think I'm just going to keep it 4 this time because 9 was as happy as I was to do it. And I really do appreciate everybody who did participate in the Bruce Springsteen 9 drummer collaboration. 9's a little bit too much right now and I don't want to overload myself. So we'll just keep it at 4 for this one. So as I said, let me know in the comments or reach out to me on social media and we can work out the details then. Also, what do you guys think of these new drumsticks I got? So this is actually part of the Nashville trip. I don't know if you can see it, but the Ryman Auditorium, that was originally the Grand Ole Opry, and now it's just simply the Ryman Auditorium where they still do all the country music artists and everything. But these were actually sticks I found, and I'm just curious what your opinion is. Would you guys like to see these in my drum covers going forward? I think they are pretty nice, so we'll see how it works. But let me know in the comments what you guys think of these, and if you want to see my next drum cover videos or collaborations. So stay tuned for that. And so let's jump into day 3 of the trip. So we're at the Grand Canyon at this point, and it actually starts off pretty gray in the morning. But we go and have a nice breakfast at the El Tovar. And then we go and have a nice little chit chat with this geologist who gives us a nice little rundown of how the Grand Canyon formed over the millions of years. I didn't want to say millions or billions of years, but millions of years and how it took to get to the way it is today. And the weather wasn't really the greatest because unfortunately it sprinkled just enough. And unfortunately, this fog just came rolling in and it was like somebody just took a whiteout, for instance, and just completely did that in the Grand Canyon. So, needless to say, it spoiled trying to do the little sightseeing that we were doing because I forget which name it was, but went to a different spot in the Grand Canyon. So, really couldn't do much. But nonetheless, I actually took a long bus ride out to Glen Canyon, and also that was close to where Lake Powell is. And we actually went and had a nice dinner on a nice little cruise a little later on during Lake Powell, which took us about halfway because it really winds a little bit till it gets like where the dam is, where they produce all the electricity and everything. So that was actually a good night. So we at least salvaged a good moment. Even the hotel room was absolutely killer too. And I absolutely loved the view from it, especially at night too, when you're able to get like, you get the nice little star looks too. And like, I wish I knew how to do astrophotography. Otherwise, I would have figured out how to make that work. That really would have been awesome. So it is what it is. So that's pretty much day 3 of the trip. It was just pretty much short little moments at the Grand Canyon. Kind of spoiled because of that little fog that came in because of the rain. And then long drive out to Glen Canyon. Had a nice dinner there on Lake Powell. And pretty much just chilled and just looked at the starlight afterwards. That just completely dominated the view, as well as like the distant formations of all the rocks and everything too. So that was awesome too. And so let's jump right into the questions. All right. First question is from Rich Raw Dog Drums. Rich, I got your question there last week, buddy. And actually, I'd like to get back in touch and do a collab with you at some point. So nonetheless, Rich, your question, you actually put out there for the community. But his question was, how often do you visit and or comment on your subscribers or other channels? Daily, a couple times a week, or when you see a song and or video you like? So Rich, I try not to be, even though by all stretch of the imagination I'm probably consumed by technology, but normally I like to try to keep it like daily. But it's normally when I see any notifications pop up, like saying one of my subscribers, let's just say Ash Wells, post something on there. I try to go in there and check it out, maybe leave a comment, some sort of like. So, to at least answer your question, to keep it daily, at best, sometimes I'm a little bit preoccupied because working 2 jobs, as I normally have said. So, daily. We'll just keep it that way. And then, I hope that answers your question there, Rich. So, it's the best I can give you. So, all right. And the next question is from Brian Drums. I actually had to keep asking Brian for questions here because kind of running a little bit short there, so had to kind of beg, to be perfectly honest. So let's see. How did you start drumming? How much practice do you tend to put in? So Brian, this one kind of ties into the stories I've been mentioning in the last 2 videos I've been doing. So the whole thing with Rock Band, kind of getting into that through high school and college. And it started more when my parents realized that it wasn't a fad, just playing on a Rock Band pretty much 7 times out of the week, and seeing them just exercising and stuff like that. So when they realized that wasn't a fad, they just asked like, hey, do you want your own drum set? And as I mentioned, the acoustic set wasn't really going to work because of how the sound and everything is. So fortunately we were able to find an electric drum set from a local shop not too far from where I live, and actually just found like the real cheap kind of set too. It wasn't like anything like the Roland TD25 I roll with now. That actually came a couple years later. Actually, something me and my dad split too. This one was just more of your standard set. In other words, like the foot pedals for like the hi-hat and the kick, they weren't really connected to like anything. You just like pressed down on them and it made the sound for you. So it was really just more of the beginner set. And that's really just how the story goes. And then the rest is history. And in terms of like practice time, it varies because at times, if I'm feeling it and I really want to get like a calorie burn, for instance, I'll jump on and do like a metal thing. And honestly, I'm not even keeping track of time either because the way the man cave is kind of set up and the way the cable box is set down there, I try and look at that for like the time and everything. So really, I'm not even keeping track of time. I'm just like, whatever song comes to mind, I want to play it. And we are going to do it as many times as I want to get it right. Or if I get it right the first time, it's just like, okay, move on to the next song. Before you know it, maybe an hour, maybe even close to an hour, maybe close to 2 hours. So anywhere in the range of an hour to 2 hours. That's me at best. And then other times I got to try like maybe practice for a collab, or as I used to do drum covers, or even now with the live streams with including the bass. I want to make sure I give myself enough practice time to like get it all down and everything too until I feel absolutely comfortable. So Hope that answers your question there, Brian. So thank you so much. And we only had 3 questions for this video. So the third question and last one for this one, it's actually from John BMX for Christ, aka John Brooks. Thank you so much for this question here, John. And I have to laugh because this one is actually a pretty funny one because it actually deals with the Golden Girls. If you know, with Betty White, Rue McClanahan, Bea Arthur, and Estelle Getty. So, John's question, you have to marry a Golden Girl. Which one and why? I have to honestly laugh because I think if we're just sticking with like the characters, for instance, and if we knew how Blanche was, aka that's who Rue McClanahan was playing, she was the one that was known for like doing the whole sex and everything, just going after whoever it was. They say Bea Arthur's character, Dorothy, wasn't very good, or as like her ex-husband Stan was saying, like, oh, I just want some good sex and stuff like that. Maybe Sophia. But at that point, I had to be like really old, I have a bunch of gray hair, and probably very ugly and everything else. So you can probably imagine how that looks. But I think it's here between Sophia and Blanche. But since we're picking one, actually, damn, I really wish I had a coin. But let's go with Sophia because I think she's got the attitude and everything too, and I gotta love her for everything she's done. And Estelle Getty, she played her fabulously too. So of course, at that point, I have to really give up a lot of years of my life, have a lot of gray hair, or actually I'm pretty much bald at this point, and probably old, wrinkly, and everything else. So I gotta give up my good looks and everything to be old and ugly to kind of sleep with Sophia. So there you go. Sophia it is. All right, and we've reached the end of episode 3 of the Q&A session here. So I want to thank everybody who participated in this. Could really use some more questions here. Come on, people. I need more questions. Come on. I like John's question. And it was because it wasn't really John related. It was just something fun. I need fun questions. Let's make this fun too. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching, as well as also participating in this. Hope to see some more questions going forward and everything. But if you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below so you can show your support for this channel, as well as also check out my podcast, All Music Matters and That, so you can help support other channels who come on there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe. Stay tuned, y'all.